5, Ois Daled, line 20, page Tes of the Hebrew pages. And we were talking about the Maila of the Daled Minim, that why do these particular 4 kinds have the special mitzvah of the Daled Minim, because all of them have the level of Achdus in them. They have the unity, and that unity is the unity that's a result of the ayin. Did we learn over here about the ayin that's Meir in the Yesh? Yes, and that's why, similar to Isa Shalom b'Meroimov, that Eibishter makes peace in his exalted ones. So there's the ayin that brings into being the Yesh. And then we were talking about that the taking of the Daled Minim is the drawing down of Das, which is also a level of Bittul and Achdus, and that's also the Achdus we have with joining all the different kinds, all the different extremes, from those that have flavor and taste to that which has no flavor and taste, which indicates the union and the joining between all Yidden. And how does this union and joining come about? That comes about through the level of love. So now the Rebbe is going to go into speaking about the idea of love in Avodas Hashem. Often we speak about attaining love in Avodas Hashem, concerning the love of Hashem. The Rebbe is going to speak about in Avodas Hashem the idea of love and the attainment of love in regards to Avas Yisrael, because the love of another Yid is the cause and the reason for having the Achdus of all the different minim that we have in the Daled Minim, in the Lulav, and so on. So we're again holding Ois Daled, page 5 of the copies, line 20. Even this will be understood, Al Pi HaMevur, Baruch B'Sefer HaMamorim, Tafresh Lamed. Like what's explained at length in the Sefer Mamorim Tafresh Lamed. Initially, we started with one Maimer of the Rebbe Marash, now another, because today Yud Gimel, when the Rebbe originally said the Maimer also, was the yahrzeit of the Rebbe Marash. So he says over there, Be'inim v'haftas havai lekech, that over there in that Maimer, the Rebbe Marash speaks about loving Hashem, your God. So and in a similar vein will be understood also concerning the idea of loving another Yid as yourself. So again, he's extrapolating in this Maimer from what it says in other Mamorim concerning the love of Hashem, concerning the love of another Yid, how the love of another Yid can be attained, and so on and so forth. Do as it's known, there are 2 meanings in the word ve'ahavta. Pirusha echad. One meaning is ve'ahavta lashon tzivui. You should love. It's a mitzvah. Hashem is commanding us ve'ahavta. You should, you must, you are supposed to love Hashem your God. And by extension again, ve'ahavta l'rachamach, you should love. Pirush hasheni, another meaning in the word v'ahavta is a lashon havtacha. It's a promise that Hashem is promising us, you will come to love Hashem your God, and in our case, another Yid. Moving for this understood, and then the word v'ahavta is included both types of love. In other words, there are 2 types and levels of love. Beforehand, we didn't think of them as different levels. The Rebbe says that these 2 meanings indicate 2 types of love, 2 levels of love. There's one type of love, one level of love that you could say a command about it. You could say you must love. And a second type of love that a command is not applicable over there. You could only say about this other type of love, you could only say a promise. That's all you could say with this other type of love, because it is like beyond our reach. We cannot be commanded. It's a higher level. Let's see on further in the next page. Page Yud, 6th page. by first prefacing the teaching of the Mizrich Magid. Shashon Ishnasa Masayim Listalkas Hilul Shaloi, in the year Tov Reish Lamed, Tov Shin Lamed Daled, was the 200th year of the Histalkus of the Mizrich Magid, who passed away in Tov Kuf Lamed Gimel Yutes Kislev. So it was still within the 200th year. It was only going to be 201 at Yutes Kislev Tov Shin Lamed Daled. Bir Ashayla, in explaining the question, how is it applicable, a command on love? How can we be commanded? How could there be such a mitzvah you should love? So the answer is, the mitzvah is not on love. Love is an emotion. It's in the heart. Either I have this emotion or not. But there are things I could do to bring this emotion about. Mizrich Magid explains that the command is on the meditation that will bring to love. When it comes to meditating, contemplating, thinking, that's something that involves the intellect. A command is applicable. Through fulfilling this command. And he meditates and contemplates on those things that bring the person to love. In other words, he thinks into those topics and ideas that will bring a person to love of Hashem. So then he will arrive to love Hashem, your God. So now again, the Rebbe is extending this as well, just like it applies concerning loving the Eibishter. That the mitzvah is, the tzivui is, to think about things that will bring you to love Hashem. So in a similar vein, in the mitzvah v'haftarach kamoicha, b'dugma zeh, move on gam b'negel l'tziva v'haftarach kamoicha. So too it's understood concerning the command of loving your fellow as yourself, that since love is an emotion, you cannot tell a person, love another Yid, but what you could command another person is, think into things that will bring you to love another Yid, and then that will bring about that you'll actually have that love for another Yid. What do you think into? Perek Lamed Beis in Tanya, for example. There you have information and ideas that a person can contemplate and think about to evoke the love for another Yid. Line 10. And this is one level of love that it's applicable to say about it a command, Allah is bonus, on the meditation. It's talking about such a level of love that is a result of, and that we can arrive through meditation. So that's one level of love, the level that falls into the category of v'ahavta as a command, as a tzivui, as opposed to another level that we'll soon explain as a haftach. This type of love of another Yid, that is something that comes as a result of the Yizbonnus, and the tzivui is on meditating and contemplating about it. That is essentially the general avodah that comes, and the general love that's a result of the godly soul. But then there's a higher level of love, that over there, the whole idea of commanding a person to meditate won't help. Because this higher level of love, meditation won't reach over there. One cannot reach it through meditation and contemplation. That's the core and principle love. That's in the first part of Krishma, in a way that's with all your might. The Ava b'chol levavcha, the Ava b'chol nafshecha, these are all types of love that are possible to be brought about through meditation, through contemplation, through Yizbonnus. Therefore, on that type of love, v'ahavta's meaning is you have a command to meditate, to think about things that will bring you to love. When it comes to the love that's with all your might, meaning l'mayla memdida v'agbala, beyond measure and boundary, over there, intellect, which is limited, cannot create, cannot give birth to a love that's without boundary. So over there, the result is, and the meaning of V'ahavta is different, as we'll go on to explain. So he says in line 18, since the general idea of being beyond measure and boundary is associated with the world of Toyu, for this there's a need in the avodah in refining the animal soul. Beyond measure and boundary, that's something that's really the purview of Olam HaToyu. Olam HaTikun, everything is settled and limited, as we're going to go on to explain. Olam HaToyu is breaking through barriers. That's why there was the Shviras HaKelim. What in the person comes from Olam HaToyu is Nafsha Bahamis. To be able to tap into that infinite power that's necessary for the Ava B'chol Moedcha breaking out of boundaries, that can only happen through dealing with the Nafsha Bahamis. When one deals with Nafsha Bahamis and elevates it and refines it, he taps into the power of the world of Toyu, and then automatically, in the way of Haftacha, as we will talk about, we get to that love of B'chol Moedech. Let's see, as the Rebbe will explain, the difference in Toyu and Tikkun and so on. Line 22, second paragraph. The idea behind this is the Hinei ben Avodah from Mitzad Nefesh Elokis. La Avodah, the Bir Nefesh Baham, is the difference between the Avodah from the perspective of the godly soul versus the Avodah of refining the animal soul. It's similar to the difference between the world of Tikkun, which means Atzilus and below, where there's Oiris and Kalim, everything organized and set in its place, to the world of Toyu. Shal Olam Tikkun Namar, concerning the world of Tikkun, it says, Haloshon, the expression, Oiris Me'atim V'Kalim Merubim, few or lesser lights in greater vessels. Val Olam Toyu Namar Haloshon, Oiris Merubim V'Kalim Me'atim, concerning the world of Toyu, the expression is just the opposite. Greater lights and lesser and fewer vessels. What does that mean? Since we're not talking about physical things, what does it mean conceptually when we're talking about greater lights, greater vessels, lesser vessels, fewer vessels? This is not a quantity thing. It also seemingly quality. We also need to understand what this means. So, the Rebbe Marash explains in that Maimer of Tafresh Lamed, what does it mean? That in the world of Toyu, it was greater lights. It shone the light of the essence without the level of vessels. The Rebbe challenges, what do you mean without the vessels? There was fewer vessels. Don't say there was no vessels. In the world of Torah, there was also vessels. Sharei Kol Oir, the top of the next page, every light, every revelation, Kedei Sheyifal Ezapula, so to be able to affect any type of effect. It needs a vessel. The simple analogy is, for fire to be able to function in this world, to illuminate in this world, it needs to have something to anchor it. It needs to have a vessel, the wick, the oil, the vessel that holds the oil, etc. The same thing, the oil of any oil, for it to be meir, it must have vessels. But, after the brackets, hakelim hoyu b'chinas miut. The kelim were few. What's it mean, few? Few is not a quantitative thing, but a qualitative, like attitude type of thing. They were few, meaning they were small and didn't insist on themselves. They were b'chinas tafel ubatel. They were ancillary, they were auxiliary, they were subsumed to the light. Their entire function was about the light, not about themselves. And therefore, and the primary light that's shown was from the level of light in its essential state. That's the light the way it is. So essentially, the Kalim were not there to leave a footprint. They weren't manifesting their true aspect of being a Keli, which would contain and limit and constrict. Not at all. They were fewer, meaning they were bottled to the light, and the principal major thing that was in the world of Tohu was the light in its core essential state. And that's why it caused the breaking of the vessels, and that's why it was totally out of bounds and unlimited and so on. Aval betikun, line 5, but in tikun areza beseder hafach, it's the opposite order. That the oides were few. Pirish, this means the primary light that was shining is from the level of the vessels. That's primarily what was involved in influencing and sharing the light. It was a vessel type of light. It was a keli format of light, not oir ba'etzem, the way it has no boundaries of kelim. Though the light and revelation is coming from the light, not from the vessel itself. The vessel is only a channel. Just like we said before, that mu'atim means few in concept and in attitude, meaning that the kelim of Tohu were mu'atim and bottled to the oir that was the oir ba'etzem. So to in tikkun, when we say that the oiros were mu'atim, they were fewer, meaning they were bottled to, they were nullified, they were auxiliary to the kelim. Therefore, they had to constantly get agreement from the kelim. It had to be all according to the kelim's perception. Therefore, the light and revelation, true, it came from the oir, but it was all according to the decision-making process and limitations and definitions of the kelim. Just like the sunlight, the way it shines through its sheath and through its case and covering, like the expression is the sun in its sheath. So now, based on this understanding of the difference of the source of the Nefesh Elokis and Nefesh Bahamis, the Nefesh Bahamis comes from Tohu and Nefesh Elokis comes from Tikkun, now we can understand in a similar way the difference between Nefesh Elokis and Nefesh Bahamis. Line 12, from this we can understand also concerning the difference between the avodah from the perspective of the godly soul to the avodah that comes from the refinement of the nefesh bahamis. The main avodah nefesh elokis is kelim. That's what we said, it's coming from tikkun. So therefore, it looks at things from a limited lens. It looks at things from the limited lens of intellect that meditates and is able to package the love and give it definition and limitation. And any love that's a result of meditation is limited and according to the meditation. Therefore, it's measured and boundaried because the root of Nefesh Elokis is in the world of Tikkun, because in the world of Tikkun, the light and revelation comes down from the perspective of the vessel. Therefore, we also have a corresponding limitation in how the hisbonness and the love of Nefesh Elokis is down here. It's in a limited fashion. It's not mind-blowing. It's not b'chol meidecham. But yesh avish l'maylam didabag bola. There's a love that's beyond measure and boundary. How could that be? This means though its love is one of the 7 emotional attributes, that the midas essentially are bounded. Even the word midah, which means emotion, also means boundary, limitation. Harehi l'mailom didavag. It's still something that can be beyond measure and boundary. This means even when its beginning is through meditation. After this, the love grew even greater than the meditation that brought the love. Sometimes you don't need the meditation whatsoever. In other words, like this. Even though we said earlier that meditation will bring about a love that is limited, but sometimes the meditation is not the creator of the love. Sometimes the meditation is only a trigger for the love. And even though, from the perspective of the meditation, the love should have been limited, but since the meditation is only triggering the love, and the love is something essentially infinite, so once the meditation triggered it, the love can be infinite. And even more than that, it's possible even to have a type of love that doesn't even come about from meditation whatsoever. The Rebbe goes on to say in line 27, Valkopanim at least, I'm sorry, yes. The meditation is insufficient. I'm sorry, I skipped over some lines. No, I'm holding the correct place. Still in all, meditation in and of itself, in other words, a love that's created solely by meditation, is insufficient to bring a love that's beyond measure and boundary. In other words, the love of B'chol Maidecha, what he called before the Iker Ha'ava in Krishma. Rather, there is something else, another ingredient that's necessary to bring about the love that's without boundary, the Ava B'chol Maidecha. Let's start again, line 29. There's a need in the avodah that's connected with the physical. Metzias yesh, the existence of a yesh. Shezoi ha'avodah hakshurim nefsha b'amis, that's an avodah that's connected with nefsha b'amis. Shebehem davke yesh la'amoitzet pi avayim oil matoyu. Only in the avodah of the geshem, only in the physical things, is there what it comes out from the pi avaya, that's from the world of Tayu. In other words, the dvar avaya of the Asara Amoris that descends all the way from the world of Tayu is specifically down here in the physical things. Even the way it came down here below, through the breaking of the vessels and through falling down of the sparks, top of page 8. Yud Beis yesh ba'in yonim doris merubim. It still contains in it the much light, the great light of the worlds of Toyu. In this spark of light, in this Dvar Havai that's in the material, physical world, the vessel is in a minor way, and in a fewer way. In other words, there's this infinite light in it. Therefore, when you bring the Nefesh Elokis, Nefesh Abamis over here together, because Nefesh Abamis has to do with the avodah involving the Geshem, through the fact that the godly soul becomes joined with the animal soul, to refine it and to elevate it to its source and root in the world of Toyu. So then they both arrive at this love beyond measure and boundary. Concerning this higher level of love, it says, this is a promise that you will reach this level of love. This means it's not a love that results out of meditation that we said before. And that type of love you can command, because the command is to meditate. Whichever meditation you choose, even the most highest meditation will not reach this great love of the Ava B'chol Maidecha. It's a type of love that's only possible to be given a promise about. that you will eventually reach there. As we know that the idea of traveling without boundaries is only happens through the descent of the neshama down below. Before it descended down below, the neshama was considered standing still. Like it says, I swear by the God that I stood before him. As opposed to descending down here below, the neshama becomes a traveler. Through the avoid of Torah study, fulfillment of mitzvahs, specifically in the physical world, davke. So it's revealed by him the lights the way they're much lights. These are the lights of the world of Toyu, the way they're connected with the avoid of tikkun, and therefore we can be promised and assured of having this greater love, the love of B'chol Ma'idecha, and in a similar vein, the higher love of another Yid.